Alongside the Duviri Paradox update, we also got Incarnon Adaptors. Now, these adapters are used to unlock hidden powers in classic, old-school fan favorite weapons, bringing them into 2023 and offering them a new lease on life. As always, my name is Leyzar, and today I have the absolute pleasure of diving deeper into the Incarnon Braton. We're gonna go through everything. What evolutions to pick, what functions correctly, what doesn't, how does a build look, and how does it actually perform. So without further ado, let's jump into the Incarnon Braton. Let's begin by checking out how the weapon handles without any mods equipped. And for that, just a couple of our regular free shots. The Incarnon Braton will depend highly on which weapon did you choose to upgrade. There's an MK1 Braton, a regular Braton, the Braton Vandal, and this one the Braton Prime. And you might be wondering, alright fine, I got one adapter right now, which one of these should I upgrade? That's a bit of a conversation, 10 minutes worth, and I'm gonna spare you the trouble. It comes down to the Vandal versus the Prime, as it always has. And if you wanna see more details on that topic, I'll link in the cards right now for the comparison between the two. Long story short, I give the edge in performance to the Braton Prime. Not only that, the Braton Prime is a whole lot easier to obtain than the Vandal, so there you go. Go for the Prime. The differences between the two are minimal at best. So the usability is pretty solid because this is a Braton, this is the standard assault rifle experience in Warframe. It looks the same, plays the same, handles the same with one big difference. Take a look at my cursor, I got one of those fancy new Incarnon cursors. So I gotta get headshots to charge the bar underneath. When the bar is fully charged, you should switch to Incarnon mode, but you can switch at any time with any level of charge. And when you switch, my friends, this one goes nuclear. So what happens now? What's the actual benefit to go in Incarnon form? Almost 4 times the damage. Not only that, you still get hit scan attack, but this one also explodes upon contact in a 3-meter radius with a fall off of 10% only, dealing heat damage. And the damage again total is about 4 times greater. In actual gameplay, my friends, this one feels like... Have you ever played Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine? This feels like a Warhammer 40,000 Boltor. It's heavier, it's meaner, it's tougher, and it deals a whole lot more damage. Oh, and the critical chance of critical damage is a lot higher as well. So this one just went full on nuclear. There has never been a more powerful Braton. Now, before we get into talents and which talents you should pick, I want you to have a look at the usability of the Braton in its Incarnon form. This is the recoil it has. And you might say, oh my god, that's rough, right? Get the minus recoil, get the talent, get the thing. Well, not really, because the weapon now has a very small spool up to it, but at full fire rate, it stabilizes. Have a look. This is the standard 15-meter test, and as you can see, the weapon is pretty accurate without you having to reduce the recoil or increase the accuracy or anything of the sort. And to get it back into full-on Incarnon form, of course, you're gonna have to go for headshots. How hard is it to get headshots? Not really all that hard, because the weapon by itself is pretty usable. Now granted, some of those bullets outside the crosshair, so one minus recoil mod would not be a terrible idea. Now, let's have a look at those talents, shall we? After you get your Incarnon adapter, what you gotta do is head on over to the Zaraman 10-0 and fast travel like so to Cavaliero. Then we're gonna be able to evolve the weapon by pressing Evolve Incarnon Weapons. You will have your Bratons here, and you're gonna be able to choose one. Bear in mind that having the adapter is not enough, you also need the resources by playing the open world in Duviri. Now let's have a look at talent level 1. Level 1 is irrelevant because this one essentially enables the transformation. At level 2 you have arguably your most impactful talent, which is a tad on the weird side. And I'm gonna be straight with you. Straight off the bat, this one, Daring Reverie, is gonna be best in slot. Increases damage by 4, that is base damage, yes. With channeled abilities active, increases damage by another whopping 38 and 50% ammo efficiency. That is insane. That means half the time you're not even consuming ammo. You know why this is best in slot? Because this one guzzles ammo like nobody's business. It increases damage by 2, again base amount. Multi-shot consumes ammo directly from capacity and increases damage by 54%. This is a multiplicative effect, and the damage bonus only applies to the multi-shot generated. Also on top of that, you get another 20% multi-shot. But unfortunately, you're gonna be guzzling ammo like nobody's business, both in the form and in the normal form as well. In the normal form, the ammo will be taken, the multi-shot generated by your build will be taken from your reserve, and in Incarnon form, for example, let's say you have 5 multi-shot, you're going to be consuming with each and every shot 5 ammunition. It hits like a truck, but the ammo disappears very quickly. The reason why I'm using Munitions Grit is, well, twofold. First of all, Daring Reverie at the current time, at the time of recording, does not function. And when I say does not function, I don't mean a part or two. The whole bloody talent is completely busted. Nothing applies. Not the ammo efficiency, not the damage with channeled abilities or the flat damage, nothing. So when it works, we're gonna go for this one as long as you're gonna be using it on a Warframe with a channeled ability. For example, Embers 2 is a channeled ability. Or for example, Hildren's Free is a channeled ability. It's gonna be dependent on the Warframe, but again, this one will be best in slot. For the time being, we will go like so, because this one simply does not work. This causes the damage. A lot of damage. Beautiful damage, but your ammo will just simply disappear. Next up at level 3, we're gonna be going with Gunsmoke Pickup if you get punch through on the weapon, if you mod for punch through, if you're gonna be going this route. And keep in mind that punch through in Warframe can be fantastic, or it can be completely irrelevant depending on the situation. Punch through is great, transforming a single target weapon to a multi-target weapon, but unfortunately, it's also highly situational. Not only that, this one in its Incarnon form is basically an explosive weapon. What exactly happens? Does that mean that the projectile travels through multiple targets, generating explosions as you go? No. Your explosion will only be generated on the first target. The bullet will keep on traveling, it will deal its base damage, its contact damage value, but will not be generating additional explosion. And by the way, we tested these weapons for like 6 or 7 hours in the simulacrum, each and every single talent individually before doing this review. So thank you very much for helping me with this one. Punch through is fantastic. This talent, Gunsmoke Pickup, is fantastic if you're gonna be going for punch through. Void's Guidance, I thought initially that this is gonna be a throwaway talent. Why? Increases accuracy and reduces recoil by 60%. Well, technically for recoil it should be a minus 60%, but that's not important. The usability of the weapon by default doesn't really need Void's Guidance, especially if in the XL slot you're gonna put minus 60% weapon recoil. That's gonna be more than enough. The weapon by default handles very well, and with that mod it's gonna handle even better. So you don't really need Void's Guidance, but because the other options are not that fantastic, you might going for this one. Especially if you decide to build a weapon into non-Incarnon form, because the BratonSupremme can actually take the Felarx treatment. We build the Felarx for its normal form, not its Incarnon form, because that's how it's more powerful. And the last option, Mercenary Chamber, increases ammo capacity to 1125. Keep in mind that if you upgraded the Vandal, you're just gonna get 200 extra. If you upgraded the Prime, you're gonna get yourself 525 extra ammo capacity. Honestly, this is not a horrible idea to go for if you're gonna be doing something like lengthier runs. The problem is this 1125 doesn't do anything for your Incarnon form. This one has no effect for its Incarnon form either, Gunsmoke Pickup. It only works in its regular form. So, all in all, considering, what am I left with? Void's Guidance. Next, the final talent, Evolution 4. Prelude of Might. You see, bugs sometimes can hinder us, like this one that just simply doesn't work, but sometimes bugs can also really help us a lot. This one says the following: with critical chance below 50%, increases critical damage by 3x, and that 3x is not a bonus additive after, it modifies the base critical damage of the weapon. You know what that means? That means mods play off with that one as well. And that's not a bug. The buggy part right now is the fact that you can have as much critical chance as you want. You are still retaining the modification to the critical multiplier. Now granted, this bug will be eventually squashed, but for the time being, my friends, we are definitely going to use it and enjoy it. It makes the weapon absolutely insane. You can get like 16, 17 critical multiplier with whatever critical chance you may desire. Again, we fully tested this one, and that's how it works currently. Critical Parallel and Survivor's Edge are pretty similar. Both offer critical chance, and one offers critical damage and the other offers status chance. Here's the thing. Both of these, just like Prelude of Might, will be modifying your base values. This is why they are so powerful. So again, mods will be playing off the new value. For example, with this one, you're going to 30% crit chance and 2.2x critical multiplier. With this one, you're going to, what would that be? 22% crit chance, and your status chance hops up to a whopping 40%. Absolutely bloody huge. Keep in mind that for the Incarnon form, you have better critical chance and better critical multiplier. So the build, for the time being, looks something like this. But when the bugs will be fixed, you should switch at level 1 as long as you are using a channeled ability. Go with Daring Reverie. At level 3, this is still the only talent that will help both forms. Void Guidance with accuracy and reduced recoil. But if you want to actively get your ammo back in normal form of the weapon, Gunsmoke Pickup legitimately puts your ammo back to full as soon as you hit 2 free enemies. It's really quick and extremely efficient. As for Mercenary Chamber, honestly, you don't really need this one as long as you have Punch Through and Gunsmoke Pickup. But if you want to be on the safe side and you want to have a huge magazine capacity, you can go with Mercenary Chamber. For the time being, Void's Guidance, and after the bug fixes, well, kind of still Void's Guidance. And the final talent, well, best in slot should be Survivor's Edge. With the status chance and the critical chance for the time being, we're going to be going with this puppy, Prelude of Might, with that massive increase on the critical multiplier, modifying your base critical multiplier from 2 to 5 and from 3 to 6. Now, this will be a maxed out setup for the veteran player, simply because newer 10-0 can't really get their hands on the Incarnon adapter to evolve the Braton. For a full new player experience on the Braton Prime, how to build it, or the details, you're looking at something like this. Link in the cards right now for a full and detailed guide on the Braton Prime. As for veterans, you're looking at something like this. Galvanized Chamber, a must-have, no question. Galvanized Aptitude, hold on there. Does it still work on the Incarnon Braton? And yes, it does work on the normal form and on the Incarnon form as well, because you got 2 damage sources. First of all, this is the projectile making contact with a target, and this is the explosion. The damage benefit from Galvanized Aptitude will not be applying to the explosion, but it will be applying to the projectile making contact with a target. And as you can see, damage is split between the two 50-50. You can still go for Galvanized Aptitude. It's definitely a smart idea. If not, I will give you one option to that. Hunter Munitions, critical weapon, a no-brainer, critical delay as before, of course, and my critical chance goes to 90% with this build on the Incarnon form and a whopping 13.2x critical multiplier. As for the normal form, only 36%, but again, we're looking at a critical multiplier of 11x. I can augment that 36% with something like an Avenger or a Kavat buff, no problem whatsoever. You're gonna make plenty use out of that high multiplier. And I know what you're gonna say. Oh, dude, I don't have a Riven. I don't want to get a Riven, but you should. You didn't get a Riven because the Dispo is 4 out of 5. Because essentially, my friends, this is the Braton Prime. And for those of you that ask, hey, am I getting Mastery after I Incarnon the thing? No. The game still treats this weapon as the Braton Prime. So if you got the Mastery out of it, you're not gonna be getting it again. Instead of the Riven, for any slash build, a no-brainer for max damage is gonna be something like a Bane mod. While I'm not a personal fan of these, it's not a bad idea. Prime Shred is another fantastic option, especially if you chose the Punch Through talent. You can go like so, 55% fire rate, 2.2 meters worth of Punch Through. The weapon goes absolutely nuclear. But let's say you're going with a full setup, even though in Duviri that would be a bit problematic because of the random element, but let's say you're gonna go with a full setup. This is what you can do. Drop the use the Panzer Vulpaphyla to get your vital procs, and for an absolute maxed out setup, Bane mod, and in this slot, say hello to a mod that's it's a meme mod, or used to be a meme mod, Hammer Shot, with 60% critical damage and 80% status chance. My friends, your critical multiplier in the Incarnon form is 16.8. Obviously, this is not the only choice you can go for. If you want to be super safe when it comes to this kind of damage, multi-shot is always a better idea, but keep in mind that with the multi-shot talent, you're going to be guzzling ammo extremely quickly, but this is a way you can go. Prime Cryo rounds can also play a vital role in the build, especially if you want to make vital on the weapon. For the time being, for the memes and the lols, and for that outstanding critical multiplier, Hammer Shot. And we're gonna be spawning in level 165 Corrupted Heavy Goons and 165 Exogogstat. Now let's see what the weapon can do. This being a galvanized setup, of course we're gonna have to get a couple of kills first. I'm gonna show you first what the normal form of the weapon can do. Did you notice something? What's missing from my targets? And they're still getting absolutely shredded, but what's missing? Vital. I didn't take the Vulpy with me just so you can see exactly what the weapon can do with no vital procs. And keep in mind, for a slash build, vital is absolutely essential. But take a look at the power. Does not care. Oh, and did I mention that the reload on this one is on the quick side with a 75 magazine? Because this is, again, the BratonSupremme we're talking about. Switch to Incarnon form. That's a single shot, no vital procs, 3 slashes. How's that? How's that? Heat from the weapon, no vital, not even in the same galaxy as any vital procs, and the weapon still absolutely freaking shreds. But listen, I hear what you're saying. Dude, shooting standing still targets, especially considering that you gotta charge the weapon and all whatnot. How's about some actual steel path gameplay, huh? The art of wombat must be practiced. Welcome to the void, my friends. Now let's go for some headshots and let's see what the weapon can do in regular old steel path. Do you see? I'm already charged because it's that easy. Now, when you go Incarnon form and you're fighting this level 130 something, don't use the weapon like you would use an automatic rifle because you're just wasting ammo. Go shot by shot. Look at that. Go shot by shot, it's absolutely freaking hilarious. If you got a pack of enemies in front of you, open up like that. But outside of that, you can very easily annihilate whatever stands before you. And the weapon, especially with that specific Incarnon talent, handles like an absolute dream. That's the capture target, was a capture target. There's really nothing that can stand before you. And the question would be, how does this one scale? If you're interested in level cap gameplay, take the weapon, it will handle beautifully well. Now I also got some additional footage when it comes to Duviri steel path gameplay. The problem with me showing you something like that, you need to understand that in Duviri you got a big RNG element. Will you get the same setup as I did? Will you get the same Warframe, the same weapons, the same enemies, the same decrease? Probably not, but still, it's worth seeing how the weapon performs. As for normal steel path, yeah. That's it. That's it. Here we go, boys. Isn't that a treat? I just incarnated it last night. Okay, melee, whatever. Melee. This is it. Incarnon form. Oh, yes. It's so juicy. It's so deadly. You gotta love it, friends. You gotta love it. Keep hunting for rune marrow because you will need it everywhere you look. Go for rune marrow. I ate them.
Found one.
I'm eating them. Steel path gameplay with the Braton. Actually, I can use this footage for the review. You can tell very easily in which form it is by the sound. I don't even need the whatchamacallem decrease. It's that good.
Move and strike. We have to win this.
You gotta go shot by shot when you're in this form because it's too powerful and it consumes too much ammo.
Oh, you've gone for multi-shot?
I have to, the other one doesn't work. You charge it really quick, so it's not an issue. There you go. Now we go shot by shot action. Leyza, thank you so much for your videos. Really helped me to understand modding in Warframe. Oh, I'm glad, man. Plenty more content where that came from. Thank you for logging on and letting me know. I appreciate that. Welcome to the stream, my friend. Today, actually, since we're talking about it, we're gonna be completing the Braton Incarnon vid. Yesterday was for testing, yesterday was for figuring out what works, what doesn't work, etc. Yeah? What you should go for. And today is just the recording bit. And that's pretty much gonna do it. The Incarnon version of the Braton is without a doubt an endgame weapon. It's an extremely powerful weapon that you should have in your arsenal. And now you know exactly what talents to pick and how to build it. Whether it be bugged or not. As always, my name has been Leyzar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe only if you enjoy the content. If you got any feedback for me, I would love to read it in the comment section down below. Also in the comment section down below, what weapon build would you like to see next? I have everything in an Excel sheet and I just +1. And yes, I'm handling all the Incarnon weapons as fast as I can. You can also catch me on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all the usual places. But if you love the content and you want to help me keep making it, consider supporting us via Patreon. There's gonna be a link in the upper right portion of the screen right about now. I'll catch you guys in the next one.